Have you ever seen something from the corner of your eye that wasn't there when you looked again? How about hearing from a friend of a friend that while they were hiking somewhere, they thought they saw something impossible? When they spoke to a ranger, there was always a simple explanation that left you unsatisfied. My name is Chris, and this is my colleague Jack, and we are senior wardens for the Creature Conservation Initiative. We protect the world from the creatures of superstition and myth, but more importantly, protect those same creatures from the world. Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Blink and You'll Myth It. I hope you're all doing well despite the apocalypse outside of your window happening in various forms since the last 5 years. You've probably grown accustomed to it. Jack, how are you dealing with the end of civilization as we know it?
Oh, I mean, I'm excited as anything. I thrive in chaos, so break the rules, tear them down,
Yeah.
let me absolutely loose.
Burn it all down.
Burn down society.
Yes.
How about yourself? How are you finding it?
Well, you know, I'm swing widely between burning all down and crying in the corner. Sometimes both. Just crying into my Molotov.
Crying into my Molotov. That dilutes it, unfortunately. It makes it less effective.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why I couldn't burn it down.
Well, where have you been crying into your Molotov this week? What have you been doing as part of your duties?
Well, somewhat appropriately, I've been crying in the USA. But for what it's worth, it's been about a couple of years or so since this particular episode.
Okay.
It was at a time shortly before we started this podcast, I think. So when all was still a little more secretive and hush-hush and all that.
Yeah.
So we are talking about a creature that we don't actually know too much about. We're still in the process of trying to figure it out because it's relatively new. And it is commonly referred to on the internet and everywhere else mostly as pale crawlers.
Pale crawlers. Okay. Yeah, I don't think I've heard of pale crawlers. They're not on my radar at the very least at the CCI, so yeah, what are they?
They are horrible mostly. So the pale crawler is, as you can probably tell by the name, it crawls and it is pale, and that's the episode for today. Thank you for listening.
I would have never guessed.
So it is roughly humanoid. It has very long limbs compared to a human.
Okay.
It is very thin and scrawny, and it has, as the name implies, it has basically white skin.
Yeah.
It's almost translucent, so that you can see veins on his body.
Okay, so very, very kind of thin-skinned.
Yes,
in a way.
very thin, or at least it looks that way. It always looks very loose, kind of like if you were to grab it, you could just pull it around, and
Don't like that.
it doesn't really fill the skin out.
Not a fan.
Yeah, it's not a great sight.
Okay.
And they're very skin and bones kind of deal.
Okay.
And there's absolutely no hair on them, which I'm not sure if that makes it worse or better. I'm not sure if I'd prefer a hairy crawler.
Your preferences aren't part of this.
So, no hair, and one of the first things you're probably gonna notice are its eyes, because they are very reflective, kind of in a way that you might see a cat at night and just the eyes look like lasers looking back at you, that kind of thing.
All right, so yeah, they've got that kind of like that reflective quality that you tend to get from nocturnal creatures.
Yeah,
Okay.
they are absolutely nocturnal. In fact, I'm not aware of us or anyone else having seen them in daylight, actually.
Oh,
It's
okay.
almost like they basically vanish from the face of the earth when the sun rises, which, you know, doesn't exactly make it easier to catch one of them or study them.
All right, that's interesting. because you're saying here it's not that they return to nests and we see them in a nest and we know that they're there. They just don't like sunlight. It's as if we just can't track them down at all during the day, even if we've been following them all night.
Yeah, at the very least, we can't track them. I suppose they're gonna be somewhere, and sometimes when they are in caves or basements or something where it is already dark, they're gonna stay there. But they are very, very slippery and great at hiding away, it seems.
Okay.
So basically, as soon as the sun comes out, they are nowhere to be found.
Interesting. I like that. Mostly because I just don't want to see one.
Yeah,
But
I don't. So it used to be that at first we didn't even think this was an actual separate creature that we had to deal with. When reports started coming in, as I said, this is a really new-ish kind of creature. It's basically started like a few decades ago at most. So 20th century kind of thing.
what, as in, that it's not that these are a new creature we've only just found, but it appears that they just haven't existed.
It seems that way. It's kind of hard to tell, but at the very least, there are no identifiable reports from earlier times.
Interesting.
It appears that they are an offshoot, maybe, of some other kind of creature, because
Alright.
from the description you probably already thought it's kind of similar to Wendigos or other, humanoids
Yeah.
crawling around creatures, and that's also what we thought at first when we heard reports of this coming in, that people were just seeing other things that we know about and giving it a new name. But we've come to the conclusion that this is actually a separate thing, maybe related to Wendigos in some way, maybe skinwalkers.
Okay. Are they aggressive like Wendigos and Skinwalkers?
They are sometimes.
Okay.
So in the first phases, when they first started appearing, they were it was like seeing an animal at night, basically. It was mostly people living in the middle of nowhere. They drive around the country road and they see
remote
something
places.
crossing the road, and that was it. So
Okay.
maybe they take a look at something, but usually it was a single creature that would just vanish out of sight very quickly again.
Almost sounds like something you could put down to like your mind playing tricks on.
Basically. Or
Okay.
it could be
Any one of a million different things. Yeah.
or even just normal animals, and
Yeah.
but since then they have grown more present and also more aggressive, and they've been on some kind of evolution almost, which is very
damn.
troubling, because it goes in an aggressive direction, and it's not looking very great, honestly.
But that's also a really short period of time for evolution to be kicking in.
Yeah, I'm
That's
using
scary.
the term loosely because I don't think
Yeah.
it's actually evolution, but evolution of behavior, I guess, is
Bit of an adaptation of behavior and things like that.
exactly, yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little bit less scary, but still, it's intimidating.
It is. And it probably is not gonna help you when I tell you that although they are humanoid, they don't usually move like a human.
Excellent. Sounds like it's going to be creepy.
It is. So they can stand up, they can stand and walk on two legs.
Okay.
When they do, they can get pretty tall, up to like 8-9 feet tall.
Nope.
Yep, exactly. But they usually only do that to kind of observe something, like some
Like a meerkat.
yeah, something like that, only far creepier. Imagine
say-
the most horrible meerkat and 8 feet tall.
An 8 feet bold meerkat that's pale, almost translucent skin. Yeah, I don't want to see it.
Yeah, neither do I. But the thing is, when they stand up like this, that's when you're kind of safe, because their usual
Okay.
mode of transportation and also their hunting mode, basically, is
Yay.
on all fours.
I absolutely love it when a creature has a This has been prescribed a hunting mode. That's amazing.
Well, that's a term I coined. I'm very
The fact
proud
you
of
can
that.
coin it at any point is still concerning.
Yep. Yeah, so when they're just moving around, it almost looks like I've heard it described as like a lizard, where the whole body kind of swings back and forth.
Oh, no. No, don't like this at all.
It looks very disturbing.
Yeah, I can see it in my head.
Yeah, it's not a great sight. And in addition to that, do you remember these kind of RC cars that could flip over and just keep driving?
Oh, please no.
Yeah, they do the same thing. They don't seem to particularly care whether their back is on the top or the bottom side.
So they're almost like two-way jointed.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah, and they're very fast when they're crawling around, which is never a great thing.
All right. Where are these things based?
They are mostly in North America, so...
Excellent. Cancelling any work trips to North America, then. Some of a warden can deal with them.
Yes, that is a good choice.
Namely you.
Yeah. Well, I've met them before, and I have no desire to do that again, so...
Sorry, anyway, carry on. I do apologise. This has just been so disturbing. I just can't stop asking questions already.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, that's what we're here for, I guess.
Yeah. No one wants the answers to these, though.
Not really. So, in the beginning, as I said, mostly they were seen on, like, remote country roads or something, so we were... It was suggesting that they live in a forest somewhere, maybe, or... somewhere in the countryside, but over time, over the last few decades, they've gotten closer and closer to human habitations.
Excellent.
Habitations? Is that a word? Anyway, you know what I mean.
We know what you mean. You're German, you don't know English.
Exactly. I don't know English, I can say what I want, so take that. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is they've gotten closer and closer to where humans live, and people started seeing them in cities, like at first maybe it's just in a dark alley somewhere, maybe then somewhere more prominent.
In actual towns and cities.
Yes. And at that point, they were still mostly not being aggressive, just kind of, following people around, observing.
They follow people?
Oh, yes.
They choose someone
definitely.
And follow?
They do.
Oh, this is horrific.
Especially once they notice that they have been seen. That
great.
They don't seem to like that. So once you see them,
great,
they are gonna take even more interest in you. And
wonderful.
Yeah, if it's not already aggressive, your best bet is probably to not look at it and try to walk away.
I didn't see you. You're absolutely fine. No knocks here.
Exactly. You do you, and hope for the best.
All right.
Speaking of spiders, you'll be delighted to hear that this is around the time where we found out that they are very good climbers, and they can basically crawl around on walls and ceilings, which, again, is not a thing you would want to see.
No, it's not a thing I want to see ever.
Yeah.
God, I'm not a fan of people being allowed to carry weapons, but if this is in your town, go nuts.
Absolutely. I'm not sure. I don't think it's gonna kill them, but it might buy you enough time to get out at the very least.
Wonderful, impervious to conventional weaponry. Great.
Yeah, I'm not sure about impervious, but at the very least, they are very tough. I speak from experience there.
Okay, resistance.
Yes, bullet resistant.
Can't wait to hear about your experience. Can't wait to hear about that.
Before we get there, let me tell you that they don't want to be seen to such a degree that they have developed some kind of, not even sure what to call it. When you look at them, it's like looking through a camera that is out of focus, but, without the camera. They kind of just... They're always kind of blurry and kind of like you can't quite focus on them.
They've learned to blur themselves?
Yeah, basically. They are censoring themselves because they look so horrible, probably.
Ugh. Well, I mean, yeah, that's awful and nasty.
Yeah.
But interesting. How have they learned to blur themselves? Do we know why? Do we know how they've done it at all?
That's a good question. It's part of some kind of hiding ability, I suppose.
Do you think it's an interaction with their skin and light?
Maybe. Part is also seems to be like some kind of electromagnetic interference stuff because the effect is far stronger on cameras than when you're in person.
Okay, interesting. That's fascinating. That's something that I'd love to know a little bit more about. But at the same time, I don't want to go anywhere near these creatures to find out anything further about them.
Yeah, no, you don't. Yeah, so there have been people who said that they couldn't see them while other people in the same
group, same time.
In the same group could, especially when adults could not see them and kids could see them, that kind of thing. We couldn't quite confirm that yet because, you don't really want to run experiments on children with monsters.
Yeah. Even the loosest set of ethics committees wouldn't let that go through easily.
Definitely.
Not without a bribe, at least.
Yeah. Which is kind of a problem because they do seem to have some kind of obsession or special interest in children. And,
excellent.
Yeah, they have a limited telepathic ability. They are.
Oh my god. And they go after children. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really hear words or something like that. It's not that specific, but it's kind of they put thoughts into your head.
Yeah.
Like in a dream, you might suddenly know something or that someone means something, even though there's no logical reason for you to know this. And it's that kind of feeling that suddenly pops up in your head.
Okay.
And it rarely uses that with adults, but it seems to do so more when children are around or early teens. There seems to be some connection or some limit to how much influence they can exert depending on, the maturity of the brain and the mind.
Yeah. As you get older, you're not as things are more developed, etc. So it's harder to kind of go through.
Exactly.
I'm a little bit concerned about asking this question. However, I'm going to ask it anyway. What is the purpose of talking to the children? I suspect I know what the purpose actually is. I'm just kind of curious, and I'd like some kind of confirmation.
Well, we haven't really seen the end goal yet, at least not that we know of, but they are often reported to kind of invite children, to lure them somewhere, that kind of thing. And
I'm gonna guess it's either to steal them or eat them.
We don't really know for sure, but yes, that is very much the assumption that they work off because they have eaten people and probably children are just easier prey than a fully adult human.
Well, I mean, it is the softer meat.
Yes, that too. Can't blame them.
It's why we eat lamb, not mutton, as much.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were at the point where you were telling us how they tend to speak more to children or younger people.
Yeah, basically. Not technically speak, I suppose, but...
Yeah, communicate. Let's go with communicate then.
Yeah. And there's a lot more that we haven't been able to confirm quite yet. Like some people have said they've seen them walk through walls, which we haven't seen, but we can't rule it out.
Okay.
Especially because they seem to have this uncanny ability to just disappear almost as soon as the sun rises, that kind of thing. And being able to move through solid stuff would explain a lot, but we haven't seen it happen yet.
Okay. I really hope that's not something they have.
So do I.
Because again, if they like to lure people away...
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty confident that they cannot do that, but, it's hard to prove that they do not have an ability.
Yeah. Well, some people might be a bit confused why we're saying things like this. You got to remember, this is a new creature, or at least a newer creature for us to
Yes.
investigate. And while you might think, well, if they've been around for a few decades, we should know things. But if it's an aggressive creature, it certainly makes investigations difficult.
Exactly. So you might be interested how I encountered them.
I'd love to know, and I'd love to know how you're still here, by the sounds of it.
Yes.
And why you're still with the CCI as well, if they're sending you after this.
I made a deal that they're never going to send me after them again.
Did you also make that deal to say that it was Dave's job?
I mean, I did specifically, but I really hope that it is Dave's job now.
He deserves it. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah. So, as I've said, it must have been a couple of years ago or something like that. And we were actually in the process of trying to study them a bit more. And I was overseeing a project that we were building for that purpose. And it was, I'm not even going to say small town because it wasn't really part of the town. It was kind of like an abandoned farm situation somewhere in the middle of nowhere.
Okay.
And we had seen pale crawlers in this building and the adjacent area consistently for a while, to the point that we thought maybe if we fence this in a wide area,
okay,
we can kind of catch them inside without the possibility to just nope out as soon as they're being watched. And we were setting up cameras in the building and and then the fields around that kind of thing, so we could remotely watch them, record them, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
See if they're still there, where do they go, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
smart move, yeah.
Yeah. So the problem is that a fence would be relatively easy, but as I've said before, these are excellent climbers, and we had to do something to prevent them from just being able to climb over the fence. So basically our options were to do some kind of barbed wire situation where we weren't even sure if that would be enough to persuade them to stay inside.
Okay.
Or what we in the end opted for was that we basically include a, what do you call that, a kind of roof. So it was more a cage than a fence. It was very large, very expensive.
So it's like a lipped roof kind of coming across.
Basically fencing, but in the horizontal layer.
Yeah. So it's essentially a lipped roof coming across, so that it's kind of goes over itself and makes it harder to kind of climb up and around because you've got to go upside down.
It was completely enclosed. If you've ever seen
so you've actually gone essentially domed it.
Basically, yes. So we built actual fence a little bit like you just described, and then the rest was a kind of steel wire netting that was a little bit more flexible, a little bit easier to deploy. Basically, if you've ever seen
so went full.
Yeah, we went full because it was the only way we could think of to actually keep them inside for sure. Imagine
that's a hell of a project.
It is.
That's a hell of a project for the CCI.
Yes, and even though it was in the middle of nowhere, that kind of thing does end up getting some attention, which is
it would.
Yes, which is not really what we want, and we were basically just done setting this whole thing up. And that's when the second most annoying creature we have to deal with showed up. I don't know if you can guess what that is.
I'm going to say it's the local population.
Well, yes, but more specifically, it's bored kids on bikes. So even in the day of the internet and social media and all that, kids in rural
stay
areas,
inside.
In rural areas where there's nothing to do and nothing happening, they get bored. And when they
hear... just please stay indoors and play video games all day.
Yes, please do that.
Keep out of our way.
It can only be good for you. So, when these kids hear about a what looks like some kind of military operation enclosing a farm area, they get curious. And
Yeah, fair.
we had been able to evade their gaze for a while, but apparently that evening they decided to, as we later found out, they had brought some tools and basically cut a hole in our brand new fence on the side somewhere. And
oh no,
yeah, we were.
This is sounding bad.
It was. We were just about to wrap things up and leave for the night, for a night watch to take over.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Hey, there's kids on the cameras," and we all whipped around like, "What?"
Okay.
So we saw the kids entering the area, and as soon as they were close, we saw the crawlers inside the building. They noticed,
Yeah.
I'm not sure how, but they noticed immediately. The kind of blur effect they do on themselves, it got extreme, and we basically could not track them anymore because they were so quick, so hard to even see on the security cameras. And
This is awful.
Yeah, things were obviously happening, and happening quite fast. And we tried to we'd installed a comm system, basically some speakers, so that we could, for whatever situation, talk to people inside.
Speak to them,
Yeah.
Ask them if they're okay.
And asked them to get the hell out, which we did. And the kids did.
I'm sure you chose nicer words than that.
Of course, only the nicest. Which didn't matter because the kids did not react at all. Which at that point
Really?
we thought was because maybe they were already under the influence of these telepathic kind of nonsense going on. But whatever the cause was, it was clear that we had to do something. And as I was basically the only, what do you call it, like field agent who had some kind of experience with what would probably be fighting some creatures,
Okay.
I had the honor to
You got to
go in.
Did they honestly only send you with like the building core?
Yeah, more or less. There were a few more guys around, or they were set to arrive a couple hours later for when it got really for the night shift, basically.
Oh yeah, of
So
course. If they don't do anything during the day,
Yeah.
if they don't come out during the day, you don't need
Exactly.
a bunch
We didn't need a bunch of
bunch
people.
of
I was
field
just kind
wardens.
of overseeing things.
Yeah.
And
You could just have a bunch of builders doing the job, and the field warden
Yeah.
watching over it. Oh
yeah,
my
and
god,
the other agents
that's
kind of
such
got
a
delayed and
oversight.
yeah, they kind of got delayed, and we were honestly, it was kind of sloppy because usually nothing happens, and we were out in the middle of nowhere. And lessons were learned.
It's a perfect storm.
Yes,
It's a perfect
yes.
storm, yeah.
So anyway, I grab the brightest flashlight I can find on the table. I grab a few flares because these things do not like light, even if it's artificial. So I'm thinking that's my best bet probably. And I grab my sidearm and run in there. And as I'm in there, I notice that my radio starts shouting static at me because there's some kind of interference going on caused by the creatures.
Awful.
Which also was the reason why our speaker system didn't work, because the signal didn't even really get there.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. So basically communication wasn't really possible at this point. And I combed the area. I'd assumed they were gonna go to the house, and knowing dumb kids and kind of knowing these creatures was the best bet to search there. And as I entered the building, I saw some open doors that shouldn't be open, so I could kind of track where they went, and it was quickly becoming clear that they went to the basement, probably lured there by the crawlers.
Awful.
Yeah. And as I enter the building...
Nothing good happens in basements.
Never. So as I enter the building, I have this kind of thought, emotion in my head that is kind of telling me to I should just leave them alone, just walk away. It wasn't very strong, but I really noticed that something was trying to dissuade me from going further. So
a little influence.
Yeah, a little influence.
Sounds like these creatures.
Yeah. Anyway, I go down the stairs to the basement, and what I see is a bunch of kids surrounded by, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 crawlers, I suppose. It was hard to count because they're hard to focus on, and it was dark, so I was moving my flashlight around, and they were moving.
This is an awful number to deal with by yourself.
Definitely. And I think I was just in time before they started taking a nibble of the kids, because they were quite close. But
what a way to describe it.
Gotta keep it light. Anyway, they seemed to be, at least in the first moment, be pretty receptive to the idea of me shining light at them and them backing away. It was quite effective, so I kind of just joined the group in the middle and waved my flashlight around, lit a flare, and dropped it on the floor to create some more lighting.
Yeah, more. That's a pretty good idea, actually. I like that one.
Yeah. It seemed to kind of scare them away, but only a little bit. They were just like,
gave you a bit of space.
Yeah, they were giving us a bit of space, but they were always kind of crawling around at the edge of the lights and slowly inching closer again, like after the first shock. And there was kind of a standoff situation for a little bit, because we were surrounded. I didn't really know how to move out there, especially with a group of preteens.
This is an awful place to be. is basically it.
It was the worst place to be. And I could almost feel it whenever I wasn't looking in a direction. I could almost feel them inching closer to my back. It was very weird.
That's I think everyone knows that kind of feeling of just having something is just getting closer, just because you're not perceiving it.
And worst part is there were 4. Was it 4 or 5 kids? I'm not quite sure, to be honest, but I do remember that 2 of them were still, I'm gonna call it hypnotized. It's not quite the same, but you know what I mean. They were not quite there. Yeah, they were under the influence, and that's why they didn't listen to me. It was, I couldn't just pick them up and move out of the basement. It was a whole thing. Which, as I was just trying to figure out what to do now, one of the crawlers seemed to have had enough and tried to jump at me, and I had to shoot it, which did something. It backed away and it shrieked, but it
but the
wasn't
moment you start
dead.
shooting,
it didn't help. Well, it did help a little bit, because that seemed to remove that telepathic influence in some way. Probably something about the shock or noise or pain or whatever. But at least the kids were mentally with me again, which was a kind of good thing. But these things are getting more aggressive, because now we've kind of started a fight.
You've broken that. Yeah, you've broken the seal.
Exactly.
Everyone knows where this is going. Yeah.
Exactly. And at this point, there are a bunch of them. Usually when people encounter them, there's 1, maybe 2. And at this point, they have us outnumbered. So they are, from that reason alone, they are much more aggressive, because they have the upper hand in a way. So I just kind of try to move the kids behind me and me between the kids and the creatures. And we kind of just, Alan Waked ourselves out of there, shining flashlights, trying to shoot things when they were attacking. And also I was...
Take a shot, keep it at bay, try and use the light to scare them back.
Exactly. Drop a flare when they get too close, that kind of thing. And I was acutely aware that I did not exactly have loads of ammunition on me. So I was trying...
You're telling me that you didn't turn up with the entire British military's armory
No,
on you?
just this once. I
Shocking.
didn't. So we were moving. I was kind of holding them off as well as I could, and moved the kids to our entrance. We had a kind of double door system to make sure that nothing could get in or out that we didn't want to. But it was a very small area, so I kind of pushed the kids in there, and was designed for a couple people maybe. And it turned out I couldn't really fit in there with them, so I just closed the door and had to basically wait it out for only a few seconds, but that can be very long when you're fighting a bunch of crawling monstrosities.
10 seconds is a lot.
Yes.
10 seconds or so is a lot to protect yourself.
Exactly. And at this point, I realize I'm completely out of ammunition, and one of them jumps at me, topples me to the ground basically, and I'm lying there thinking, this is it. And this thing is strong. It's biting, it's clawing at me, like there's blood everywhere. I'm kind of trying to, keep it off, but there's only...
Trying to wrestle it off.
There's only so much you can do against an 8-foot tall monster. And I was convinced that was it, until suddenly I heard what a minute later I realized was the sound of a flare gun, and this thing going up in flames on top of me and just shrieking, running away. And
damn.
yeah.
Turns out they're flammable. Okay. We're getting somewhere.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. I turned around and...
Experiment successful.
Yeah. I turned around, one of the engineers, I had sent him off to kind of close the hole on the fence earlier, and apparently he felt he was needed and had come to my rescue and pulled me into the double door area kind of thing.
Good man.
Yeah. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't be here today.
Oh, okay. And that probably means I would have had to go deal with these creatures.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Was not my favorite night.
Okay. No, but I mean, it seems interesting. We learned a lot about them. Have we managed to keep them there? Do we still have that place, or did it actually fall apart? Or
I didn't go back there. I think it was dissolved because too much attention after that instant. People found out, and they kind of just...
Yeah, I mean, it's an unfortunate part of our job sometimes that you have to.
Yeah, I think they actually demolished the house to remove their hiding place.
To discourage it, yeah. Like I said, unfortunately, it is part of our job sometimes where, if we can't get it done quietly, and it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does happen. But no, I mean, that sounds like a hell of a case to have to deal with.
It was great.
And I'm kind of glad that they don't send you on that kind of job anymore. But at the same time, if they ever do need to, well, give me a shout and I'll. I do great baits.
I've heard that.
We
I've
know
seen
this.
that.
Yeah, but no, that's an interesting creature.
It is, and one I don't ever want to see again because it's horrible. But speaking of horrible creatures, do you have any advice for our listeners where they could go to see other horrible creatures crawling around?
Yeah, especially somewhere they don't want to go ever again.
Exactly. Man, we're selling this.
But that is the Blink and Your Mythic Discord, where you can go and start asking questions and speaking to like-minded people who love what we do, because there's lots of them, I'm sure. They haven't made themselves known, but I'm sure they love it.
Yeah, definitely.
But on the Discord, where you can find the link to it in the description of the show, you can ask us questions. Tell us about the episodes you like. Tell us about creatures that you would like to learn about. Because between me and Chris, we have seen pretty much everything, or we usually sent out to see the new things. And just in general,
whether we want to or
it's
not.
a nice little place. True. It's just a nice place to be. It's a nice, chill little area.
A minimum amount of crawlers.
A minimum amount of crawlers. And if you're lucky enough, you can see when me and Chris are recording these episodes.
Ooh,
if you're looking at
exciting.
the different rooms. You won't be allowed in it, but you can see it. You can watch from outside. You can put your face up against the glass, but you just won't be allowed in.
It's like standing in the parking lot of a concert.
Yeah. But at the same time, what else should they be doing, Chris?
Well, what you should be doing the entire time is commenting on these things, on these episodes. You know, drive the engagement up. Give us a rating, preferably a good one. 5 stars, thumbs up, whatever it is, wherever you are listening. I probably don't need to tell you where to find us, but we're on all the major podcast platforms. We are on YouTube if you want some kind of low-effort eye candy while listening to our beautiful voices.
Excellent.
You should subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss out on future episodes, because we do this every other Tuesday. You should also go back and listen to old episodes, because we've done this for, I think, almost 2 years now, and we've got a bunch of episodes.
There's somewhere around there.
There's got to be something that interests you. There's no, like, continuity except for a few in-jokes, so just go through the list, pick something that sounds interesting, and give it a listen.
Exactly. But yeah, and all I would also say is share this podcast with anyone you would like.
Of course, the sharing.
Friends, enemies, creepy crawlies that seem to just follow you from out of nowhere that you can't quite see properly and appear to be talking to your children.
Maybe that's why they are following people. They just misunderstood what that means.
They want to know. They want to know more about our episodes.
Exactly.
That's why they're following people.
Oh, these poor misunderstood creatures.
Well, completely ignore the fact that this wasn't around a couple of decades ago. That is what they're doing.
Of course.
All they wanted to do with those children in that basement, which is a creepy sentence to start with, was to show them this podcast.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear Lord. You get to edit this one.
Oh, no.
But on that note, I think it's probably a good idea if we say thank you very much for listening. See you next time, and goodbye.
That's a good idea. Goodbye.